Embracing a framework. What happens after you experience stillness? Not the kind of stillness you get from turning off your phone for 10 minutes, but the deeper kind. The kind that shows up unexpectedly. Maybe during meditation, maybe during a quiet walk, maybe even in the middle of chaos. When for a brief moment the noise drops out and everything becomes clear. No struggle, no confusion. Just a quiet sense that reality makes sense again. If you've ever touched that kind of stillness, something interesting tends to happen next. You want it back. Not in a nostalgic way, like remembering a good vacation, but in a much more practical way. You begin wondering, what was that? And more importantly, how do I get there again? Because here's the problem. Stillness often appears spontaneously. It doesn't show up on command. You can't simply decide to recreate it the way you might replay a favorite song. And that's where the next step on the return to certainty almost always begins. You start looking for a framework. A framework is simply a tested way of understanding what happened and how to move toward it again. And historically, the frameworks people adopt tend to look surprisingly similar. They almost always involve pairs of opposites. Good and evil. Suffering and the end of suffering. Ignorance and understanding. Confusion and clarity. Why opposites? Because the moment of stillness suddenly makes one side of the equation visible. If you've been living in confusion and you glimpse clarity, even briefly, you immediately recognize the difference. The contrast becomes obvious. And once you see that contrast, the direction of travel becomes clear.